Alright, little friends, today is finally the day. Today I'm going to finally talk about one of those questions that I've been getting forever. On the previous video, you see I talked about Evernote, which is my favorite program for keeping track of my writing across multiple devices. Evernote is awesome. If you haven't seen that video, go back and check it out. It's on the channel. It's a great video. Now though, it's time for me to finally address one of those questions that I have been dodging until now. What software do I use for writing fiction? Now, don't get me wrong, I used Evernote for pretty much everything. I write my scripts on Evernote, I prepare posts on Evernote, I brainstorm, I plot, I outline, I do all of those things on Evernote. But when it comes to writing fiction, I need something else. What type of program? People like to call programs like these distraction-free writing software. And it's basically writing programs that focus on the idea of taking away all the distractions from the world so that you can focus on the act of writing. And I agree with programs like this. Unlike things like Microsoft Word or Notepad or Evernote, I want a program that takes all of those things away. I want to be immersed in the writing. I want to be lost in the world that I'm creating and that I'm writing about. And this level of concentration is what I use for achieving writing sessions of 4,000 or 5,000 words. It's what people call it getting in the zone. Once you get in the zone, you can pretty much do anything. And that's why distraction-free writing software is important because, as I've said, the act of writing itself is never gonna get easier. So you want to be able to put all of the odds in your favor so you can get in the zone, get in, write, and then get out. Now, before we go anywhere, allow me to explain to you my mental checklist of the things that a writing software needs to have for it to be able to enable me to get in the zone without any sort of distractions around me, okay? The program needs to run on full screen. It needs to be pretty to look at. If it has customizations, it needs to be somewhere where I can't access it. I don't want to be fidgeting with fonts. I don't want to be fidgeting with formatting. I don't want to be fidgeting with backgrounds or any of that. That has to be far away, removed, not on the screen. I don't want to look at it. And here's when things get a little strange. I like writing software with no formatting whatsoever. I don't want bold. I don't want italics. I want plain text. Plain text that I can just cut and paste on Evernote without having to worry about any sort of coding or HTML nonsense that I have to be cleaning up later. Plain text is a must for me. And finally, the last of them all, the one that people have told me I'm a radical about, the last thing is this. I want the ability to turn off spell check. That's right, you heard that correctly. When I'm in the middle of writing a first draft, I do not have spell check on. I don't want anything to throw me out of being in the zone. I don't care if I've misspelled a word, if I've misspelled tons of words. I don't want to see red lines distracting me from the act of writing. I don't want any of that. Why? Because I'm in the middle of writing the first draft. No one is going to see this. And really, after all, when you get down to it, the first draft is not the act of telling a story, it's the act of gathering the clay from which the real story will be created from later during the act of revision. And I know that some people think I'm a little bit of a radical for thinking that, but I'm not gonna lie to you. When I stopped worrying about those little tiny details, the act of writing became a lot easier. I mean, as a matter of fact, I recently finished revising one of my stories, which I wrote exactly in the same format as I'm explaining you right now. And you know what the first thing I do when I revise a book? I run it through spell check. And I run to spell check, and it points me to whenever a word is misspelled, and it gives me an option, and I'm like, oh yeah, fix that, and that, and that, and that. Wow, that was a lot easier than for me to break momentum in the middle of the act of writing, right? This is seriously the reason why I keep telling people that the first draft should be an empowering situation, because you can create whatever you want, and no one is going to see it. I mean, when you start to think about it, it doesn't make much sense, right? I mean, if you're in the act of writing the first draft, you want that to be out there as soon as possible. You want to get that done so you can revise it and make it better later. So in that case, why bother worrying about little misspellings? Why let those things distract you when you can stay in the zone? I've been talking about this for a long time, but getting in the zone is the hardest thing in writing, and getting out of the zone is the easiest thing you can do. It's kind of like a combo in a video game. You work really hard to maintain that combo, and if you miss one strike, you're back to zero. Again, some people think I'm a radical for thinking like that. I don't. I think that everyone can find their own way to go about creating stories. I'm just merely giving you my point of view. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. Wow, Max, that's a lot of things you're asking from a writing software, and you're slightly right, but the goal of this is to find the best tool for the job. And after much searching, I found it about a year ago. This program does everything I want. This program does everything that I need and probably will need for the rest of my life. And this program is free. It's called Focuswriter. Focuswriter is a free writing program available for pretty much every platform. I've been using tons of writing software, like tons of them, and the one that I used for the longest time was called Writer, and it's still a pretty good program, but when I found Focuswriter, I stopped using Writer. Why? Because Focuswriter has the features of writing programs that cost $50. Except Focuswriter is free, Focuswriter lets you do things that nobody else lets you do, and best of all, Focuswriter gives you all, and I do mean all of the customization. The most expensive writing software on the App Store is called Ulysses 3, and it costs $50. And that software gives you no customization whatsoever. What I love the most about Focuswriter is not that it does everything right. It does everything right, and it also allows you the customization to create your own writing space. You can set the background, you can make it a picture, you can make it a color, you can change the size of the text box, the color of the text box, opacity, shadow, font, size, everything. My writing space is part of my writing immersion, so if I can create something that allows me to be even more immersed in the book that I'm working on, that's just perfect for me. Okay, Max, yeah, Focuswriter, you can customize and make your own themes, whatever. What else is awesome about Focuswriter? Oh, let me tell you. Ulysses 3, the software that I mentioned earlier that is the most expensive piece of software on the App Store for writing, that software, I was this close to picking it up for one feature. And that feature, Focuswriter has for free. It is the ability to have text stay in the middle of the screen, such as a typewriter. As someone who works at their desk all day, and as someone who used to do presentations on ergonomics, you don't want to be tilting your head down to look at the bottom of the screen to see where you're typing. You want to be sitting on a natural position and staring at the middle or the upper part of your monitor. That is why that little feature right there, the ability to see the text in the middle as the typewriter, is so important. Seriously, I write all day, and I don't want to be stressed out or be bending my neck down to look at the bottom of the screen where the text is going. Again, I almost bought Ulysses 3 just for that feature, but Focuswriter has it for free. Okay, enough fangirling. I love Focuswriter. You know it, I know it. Let's talk about a couple of cons, okay? Because I am level-headed enough to know that this program, although it is perfect for me, it may not be perfect for everyone else. So let's talk about those things. If you don't like customization, if you feel overwhelmed by having a lot of options, Focuswriter may not be the program for you. I like creating themes. I like fidgeting with the options so that I can create the best experience for myself, for what I am looking for. If you don't like that, that's okay. You don't have to get Focuswriter. Instead, I recommend you check out Writer. Writer, much like Focuswriter, is a distraction-free writing software, and it is very limited in its themes. It is still distraction-free. It's also a free piece of software. I like it. I was writing on it for a year until I found Focuswriter. It's a good piece of software. I just wanted something with more customization. Okay, back to fangirling. There's so much that I haven't told you about Focuswriter. Like, there's a bunch of other settings in the options menu that allows you to give yourself a daily writing quota and actually follow your process over, like, a course of a month. It's kind of crazy. And I think that is kind of the one fault of Focuswriter. It can be overwhelming to people who don't like customizing their writing software. And I think that's okay. I think that if you just want something to take all the distractions away, like no verifications, nothing in your desktop, Writer may be the thing for you. Otherwise, if you like making your own themes and you like to mess around with, little knobs and features to make the best experience for you, then Focuswriter is the writing software for you. But again, the whole point of software is to make the work easier. And, if Focuswriter does not appeal to you, and neither does Writer, I want to consider this a great sign, a reminder that you can go out and find what works the best for you. I am saying that this is the best writing software for me, for my experience and the way that I create art. I want to come in, open up the program, open up my favorite theme, sit down, write, copy all of the text, paste it in Evernote, and be done for the day. Done and done. That is the way that I go about creating stories. Of course, you can go your own way, that is entirely fine, but consider this another idea, another point of view, another piece of software out there that you can use to make your writing easier. You can find a link to Writer and Focuswriter down in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe if you want more. And if you would like even more writing advice, positivity, and prompts, you can head over to my official writing blog over at maxkieran.tumblr.com. Thank you for watching, thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me, and I'll be seeing you soon! Mwah! Writer friends, I forgot to mention a couple of things in the middle of the video, so allow me to address a couple of points about Focuswriter right now. If you want to check your word count, all you gotta do is mouse over the bottom of the screen and then it'll show it to you. Yeah, it's a little bit inconvenient, but I actually don't mind it because I found that having my word count being like shown to me actually makes me more anxious. So I actually kind of like that. Aside from that, how do I customize Focusrite? I take off all of the sidebars. I want them gone. I don't want to look at them. I don't want them to be present. I want nothing but the writer space that I created for myself and the writing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I do with Focusrite. Again, I am a pretty minimalistic person. I like to just basically come in, do my job, get out. Simple as that. Aside from other things, I will probably be posting the themes that I use for writing on Twitter, so you may want to follow me on Twitter if you want to, get my updates and also get the themes that I'm going to be using, such as the themes that I used on today's episode. Go give me a follow. I tweet and stuff, I give writing advice, and as I've mentioned a million times before, people are always surprised because people tweet at me and they're like, wow, you replied to me. I'm like, yeah, you tweeted at me. But also it's way faster. Like, it takes me forever to reply to messages on Tumblr or Facebook or YouTube, so tweeting at me is the fastest way to get a hold of me. And if you have any questions or you want an idea or something, tweet at me is the best way to go. And I just realized my hair looked really silly there for like 2 seconds, but oh well, what are we gonna do? Anyways, thank you for watching, thank you for sticking along to the editorial, I guess, and I will be seeing you soon! Mwah!